In a village cradled by emerald hills, a young man named Sarthak lived in quiet turmoil. Born into privilege, his life overflowed with wealth, yet his heart felt barren. Anger clung to him like a shadow, envy churned within him, and loneliness was his constant companion. Though surrounded by all the trappings of comfort, Sarthak would sit in silence at night, staring at the sky, feeling as though a gaping void stretched endlessly within his soul. One evening, as he wandered aimlessly through the marketplace, he overheard travelers speaking of a sage, a man who had abandoned a princely life to seek truth and had found enlightenment. They called him the Buddha, the awakened one. The mere mention of him stirred something deep within Sarthak, a glimmer of hope in his despair. Without hesitation, he resolved to find the Buddha, believing that perhaps this teacher held the answers his heart so desperately craved. After days of traveling through dense forests and treacherous paths, Sarthak arrived at a clearing where the Buddha sat beneath a magnificent Bodhi tree. A serene glow seemed to radiate from the teacher, and the air around him felt alive with stillness. Sarthak's chest tightened as he approached, his anger and sadness threatening to spill over. With trembling hands, he fell to his knees. "Great teacher," he began, his voice cracking with the weight of his emotions. "I am lost. Anger consumes me. Envy poisons my heart. I have everything, yet I feel nothing. Please show me how to find peace. How do I escape this suffering?" The Buddha opened his eyes, and his gaze was like the morning sun, gentle, warm, and illuminating. He gestured for Sarthak to sit and spoke softly, his words cutting through the young man's turmoil like a cool breeze on a scorching day. "Tell me, young man, have you ever lit a lamp in a dark room?" Confused but desperate for answers, Sarthak nodded. "Yes," he replied. "And what happens to the darkness when you light the lamp?" "It disappears," Sarthak whispered. The Buddha's lips curved into a tender smile. "Just as darkness cannot remain where there is light, suffering cannot remain where there is compassion. The anger, the envy, the emptiness, they are but shadows of the mind. Light the lamp of compassion within your heart, and you will see the darkness fade." Sarthak's brows furrowed. "But how? How do I light this lamp?" The Buddha pointed to a stream nearby. "Go, fetch me a cup of water from that stream." Sarthak obeyed, the cool water calming his restless mind as he filled the cup. But as he returned, he stumbled over a root and spilled the water. The cup was now smeared with dirt, its surface clouded. He looked up at the Buddha, ashamed. "Wash the cup," the Buddha said gently, "and fill it again." Sarthak hurried back, washed the cup carefully, and returned with fresh, clear water. The Buddha held the cup up to the light. "This cup is like your mind," he said. "When anger, envy, and greed enter, it becomes clouded and heavy. But through compassion, through acts of kindness and love, you cleanse it, just as you cleanse this cup." Tears welled up in Sarthak's eyes as the truth of the words settled deep in his soul. "But what if the darkness returns?" he asked, his voice breaking. The Buddha leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. "Then light the lamp again and again and again. Compassion is endless. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, rekindles the light within you." From that day, Sarthak began living differently. He offered food to the hungry, comforted those in pain, and forgave those who wronged him. Each act of kindness fanned the flickering flame in his heart until it burned steady and strong. Years later, Sarthak returned to the Buddha. Bowing low before him, his face radiant with peace, he said, "Master, the void in my heart is gone. The lamp burns brightly now, and it has shown me the way to joy." The Buddha smiled, his voice as calm as the earth itself. "The light was always within you, Sarthak. You only needed to uncover it." And so Sarthak became a beacon of compassion, spreading the light to others, one small act at a time, until the village itself glowed with the warmth of kindness.